Hi, Warren Reid here. Obtaining the full picture of what happened in a failed systems development project in litigation is like putting together the pieces of a broken vase. While it is beyond the scope of my conversation with you today to discuss all of the pieces, there are 5 tracks where asking the right questions can help you get to the heart of the issues. The strategy track delves into the initial business strategy. What was the strategic importance of these systems and these projects? How was their success defined? Was the product charter issued? Was ROI calculated? Was TCO? How did project management manage the trade-offs of the golden hexagon? That is, schedule, cost, scope, risks, quality, and stakeholder expectations. Was that acceptable to both parties? How critical was meeting the scheduled go-live date, staying on budget, on target for the first release? How much investment was really required, and how much were the parties willing to put up? The Stakeholder Track seeks to understand stakeholder expectations and how closely the final system matched them. Was the system fit for the purpose intended? Were all of the critical requirements delivered and tested? What specific complaints were lodged? How were stakeholder expectations elicited, managed, and controlled? Was the user interface appropriate for the users, for the intended culture? Was customer properly trained to use, manage, and troubleshoot the new system? Was organizational change management appropriately conceived, planned, and executed to assure successful cutover and use of the new system? The project management track. Were appropriate management control systems in place to plan, organize, staff, direct, coordinate, report, and redirect the project as required? Were process and problem reporting and communications accurate, complete, and actionable throughout the project? Were the causes of delays properly analyzed, attributed, corrected, and prevented from recurring? Did the contract clearly assign roles, responsibilities, and risks as the parties intended? Were estimates based upon reasonable assumptions, constraints? Were they updated when those assumptions and constraints changed? When did the parties first communicate that the project was in trouble? And what was done? What decisions delayed or hurt the project? Was the project appropriately staffed in numbers and skills and expertise in the required tools throughout the project? Then there's the technology track, which discusses the nuts and bolts of the actual system. Were appropriate architectures and platforms used to develop the system? Were appropriate plans made to convert the data and the operations from the old system to the new system? Was data properly extracted, cleansed, audited, transferred, and tested for use by the new system? What critical abilities were built into the system, and were they appropriate? Testability, flexibility, maintainability, reliability, usability, portability, recoverability, security. Was the system ready for live production? A very complicated question left for another conversation. The quality track, closely linked to other tracks. Was an appropriate systems development lifecycle methodology selected and used? Was quality control in place for the life of the project? Was an independent quality assurance team employed? Were their recommendations followed? Was testing adequately budgeted, staffed, and performed? Were appropriate testing tools used, including regression test beds, defect management, and reporting systems, independent sign-offs of critical tests, and more? Were all deliverables turned over? Were they appropriate for the contract and the statement of work? Was their quality adequate for the given situation? Were appropriate systems development metrics kept and used to manage the project and the system? Although this list is not comprehensive, they will provide a basis for the information, documents, and witnesses you will need for forming your opinion.